Hi and welcome. I'm so excited today to get to introduce to you one of our Nerdy Girl Success PowHER Emerging Leader Award winners. And so without further ado, here is Feria G. Feria, I'd love to hear a little bit more about you, about yourself. So let's just start with that.
Sure. Thank you, Miss Christina. As she said, my name is Feria Nji. I am a junior, rising senior at Texas Southern University, majoring in computer science. Originally from Cameroon, a little country in Central Africa. Um, on campus, I also serve as the president of the Computer Science Society, and I'm happy to say I'm a nerdy girl. So
Awesome. So then was it college that brought you to the States, or was there another reason why you came to the States?
it was college, yes. I happen to be an international student.
Awesome. So you picked out of all the colleges here, so what made Texas Southern seem more special for you?
Well, my brother had his bachelor's and master's from Texas Southern University, so it was but normal that I should just come here once he left.
There you
So
go. Gotcha. Of course, a legacy kind of application. That's awesome. So
thank
you
you.
talked a little bit about being a rising senior in college. And so and you said computer science. What is kind of like the ideal job that you think you would like to have after college?
That's a really good question because I don't think I know for sure what I want to do for the rest of my life after college. But as of right now, I know that I want to become a software engineer. So that's what I'm working towards. So basically, my ideal job would be software engineering in a company that I love and that I share the same vision as them.
Awesome. Well, good news is that the job that you have when you leave college doesn't have to be the job that you have for the rest of your life. So, lots of changes always are available, but that's awesome. So you're thinking about, that you want to be a software engineer at a company that you really love. But what did you want to be as a kid? Is this something you've always wanted to be, or what were some other thoughts that you had?
So when I was much, much younger, I wanted to be a teacher because my mom was a teacher. But that was really just I didn't know what I wanted. I was just saying that because of course I wanted to do what my mom was doing. But then when I got a little bit older and I started getting introduced to like devices and computer stuff, that started piquing my interest. And for as long as I can remember, I have always wanted to do something computer related. So up until before middle school, high school, and then now in college, it's always been computer, computer, computer.
So that's it. So I have a question. Listening to you talk about that, and it's something that you've wanted to do, since you were pretty young. Um, was it ever an intimidating factor for you? I know that I talked to a lot of girls who are interested in computer science, but they're a little intimidated by it because of what they've heard about the industry being, certain jobs being more male dominated and everything. Has that ever been something that has been a concern for you?
Yes, definitely. So before like being finalizing the thought like, oh, I wanted to do computer science, I had talked to a couple uncles and aunties of mine, and they were like, oh, I don't think you should do computer science. I think you'd be better off in medicine. Basically, well, not everybody, but most people were trying to convince me otherwise. And of course, doing my research and not seeing many people that look like me in terms of like women and black women specifically, it was very discouraging. But growing up, my mom always told me you can do anything you put your mind to. And I stuck with that. So I basically just told myself, either way, I'm going to figure it out. And if I don't figure it out at the beginning, I'm going to figure it out along the way. So, and I just continued with what I wanted to always do.
Having good supportive mothers is very important. That is for sure.
Very.
Yes. So have you, along with your studies, have you been able to find any mentors, like you said, that look like you that are in the industry that you're wanting to enter into?
Yes. My mentor, who was the person who actually introduced me to Nerdigo, Calicia, has been a very great support and a very great backbone to me. She's actually the founder of a nonprofit organization that gave me a scholarship. So that's how I met her, and then I connected with her. And then I also have another mentor who's also from one of my internships at Microsoft, who's helping me, and they've been really helpful since like I've been with them for the past year or so, and they've been really helpful throughout all this period. They always check in on me, always reach out. Oh, do you need anything? Oh, what are you doing in school? Oh, I think you should do this. I think you should apply to this program. Basically, they've been there for me, and they're always making sure that I stay on the right track and bringing opportunities to me, which has been really great.
Awesome. That is fantastic. So for those of girls that will be watching this interview, how did you get connected with those mentors? So I know that you said like through a scholarship and through an internship, but were they assigned to you? Did you go and approach them? Like how did that relationship get started?
Sure. So with Calicia Johnson, she, like I said, she is the founder of this nonprofit organization. I am completely blanking on the name right now, but I promise you I know it on a regular day. But so I originally just applied for her scholarship and won. And then later on, I found out that she was a mentor to a cousin of mine who also went through college and got into the computer science field. My cousin did data science. So basically that was like our starting point on our relationship. I was like, oh, what a small world, and basically we just grew from there. And now whenever she hears of any opportunity for me, she always reaches out to me. I also applied to be on the board for her nonprofit organization just as a way of giving back to her the same way she gave to me. And yeah, so that's for Calicia. And for the my other mentor, his name is Marty Donovan. He he's not a TSU alum, but he works with TSU alumni to help people from Texas Southern University get into Microsoft. So when I applied to Microsoft, he reached out to me, and he has a little team. They helped me prepare for my interviews and everything. So that's how I met him, and he's been a really great support throughout my interviewing process, my internships, and now even after my internships.
That's excellent. And that's one of the things that we're wanting the girls who are going through our programs to learn about is like the different ways that you can get connected with people who are going to be there to help support you in your career journey, whether it be, in college, post college, that kind of thing. So that's awesome. So another question that I have is when you found out, because Calicia, like you said, is the one who nominated you. So when you found out that you were being nominated as an emerging leader, like how did that feel? Like did you say, yes, I received that. That's absolutely who I am? Or were you a little bit kind of like, oh, I don't know. So how did that feel?
So I'll be honest, I initially did not understand because he said I was a finalist. So I thought they were going to pick the actual winners at the award event. But then but I was very happy. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. I was like, this is so nice. And I was really, really happy. I actually reached back out to Khaleesi. I was like, thank you so much for this. I didn't even know about Nerdigo until you mentioned it to me. And now it's basically opening doors for me in life that I never thought would be open. So I was very excited. Very, obviously very excited, but also was not expecting it. So that made it even better. But it was a very nice feeling to see that basically the things that we do as young leaders in our community gets recognized from people who we don't even know are watching. So it was a very exciting
Exactly.
time.
Well, good. I'm glad that you were excited about it. I was because that was one of my things is that, um, you hear about people after they get to be a certain age or getting recognized for their leadership, but there's a lot of leaders who are a lot younger than that. Women like your age that need to be recognized. To make you see that like it does feel good to be recognized, like, oh, I really am doing something and people are noticing it. So I think it definitely makes a difference. So what would you say is something that makes a person a good leader?
I would say a good leader is someone who has empathy. I would say empathy is a big thing because um I feel like as a good leader, you should be able to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're leading so as to, better understand how they feel or what needs to be done and things like that. So I would say empathy is a really big thing and it's something that you constantly learn on your journey of being a leader.
I like that. Empathy is a very big thing, and there are some leaders out there that don't have a lot of empathy. So, you
You
know,
know?
um, I don't know how many people are actually following them. So, do you recognize in yourself that you are a leader and that you're a leader who has empathy?
I would say I'm learning. It's a learning process. I mean, I like to believe that everybody is born with some sort or some level of empathy, but empathy in such a way that you can use that to lead a team or to be a good, not even just team, just be a good leader in general. I would say it's a learning process for me in particular. Like I don't know it all, and I'm learning as I go.
And I think that's okay because I mean, I think a lot of people, because there's a difference between like leadership that is like a role that's given like the president of a company, that kind of thing. And then there are leaders who they're leaders, but they don't necessarily have the title of being a leader. And I think within that, it's like some people think that lead, like once I become a leader, like that's it, that's the destination, without realizing that it's an always kind of learning about yourself and learning how to be a better leader. And I think even depending on who you're trying to lead changes. You're a great leader here
Or,
in this particular group, and then you move to another group and like you've got to start all over again almost.
I was just reading about that, like the different leadership styles, like the transformational leadership style, and basically each leader has a different leadership style and each leadership style changes based on the situation, just like you said.
Absolutely. And you have to be able to recognize that and essentially like, they say, read the room, to know exactly who it is that you're trying to lead and what motivates them. Um,
Very true.
so a lot of leaders have people that they look up to, that they kind of want to emulate. Some people call them heroes. So who might be like one of those people that's a hero for you, or, somebody that you look up to and try to model yourself after?
um I would say my mom. I would definitely say my mom because like I said earlier, she has been through a lot trying to raise us, well, my mom and dad, but particularly my mom, but also because she always taught me to never give up. She always taught me to believe in my dreams, and she always told me I am much, much, much smarter than I think I am. And if I think I hit a wall, then I definitely can keep going. So that is something, that's how I was raised, and that's something I want to emulate and keep repeating to myself as I grow in life. And that's something I would like to pass on to the people coming after me. So I would definitely say my mom is my hero for the way she survived her challenges and for the things she's taught me throughout my life.
That's really great to hear. Like that's a big thing. And that's when you read lots of different research studies that are done, and maybe even like in some of the leadership books that you're reading about, is that's an attribute that distinguishes leaders from, puts them out in front of the crowd or whatever, is the fact that they don't let those challenges keep them down, that they are persistent, that they're like, okay, this is the challenge. I find the solution and I find the way to get around it or get through it. So kudos to you and kudos to your mom for making sure that like that is something that is instilled in you, because there are some people who, they hit a bump in the road and they're just like, oh, that's it. I'm done. So I'm glad that you aren't one of those type of people.
Yeah, I think my mom did a good job.
She definitely did. She definitely did. Um, what would you consider? And sometimes I think this is a funny question. So, what do you think is like one of your superpowers? Like
Ooh,
makes you special?
hmm. Let me think. I would say my superpower is my ability to look at the good even when the bad happens. Yeah, definitely that. Um, it's very easy in life to when things happen, you're like, oh, why me? Why not this person? Or why did this happen to me? Why now? But I try to always look for the silver lining in a cloud. So I try to tell myself, oh, this is happening for a reason. And if this is happening, even if it's bad right now, that simply means that something good is coming for me later. So I would say my superpower is definitely seeing the good things, seeing the good in the bad.
Excellent. There is that kind of reminds me of like a symbol, are you familiar with the lotus flower?
Yes.
So lotus flowers, when they grow really well is when they are in really dirty, gross water. And so I'd heard like the lotus symbol is this symbolizes, like even in the ugliest and dirtiest of things, something beautiful can arise. So I kind of adopted the lotus flower as one of my favorite kind of flowers because of that. So that symbolism. So,
Now I'm
you know,
gonna adopt it too.
I was gonna say, like, reminds me of you. Um, so I am a firm believer in the when you share your dreams and you share your goals and you say them out loud, that there is power within that. That's like you're helping to manifest that. So, what are some of the dreams and goals that you have for yourself?
As of right now, my short-term goal is to graduate. Like I said, I'm a rising senior, so I am looking forward to graduating with good grades, of course. Um, a very big goal of mine, like I said earlier, was to become a software engineer at a renowned company and doing something that I love pretty much. Um, that's a very big goal of mine, and I hope to achieve that by the time I am graduating. Another thing I would say is I hope, because my parents are not here, so I hope to bring them here with me sometime in the future, and hopefully we can all be together. Um, yeah, those are a couple goals of mine. Goals of mine.
So I have this thing and it's called a BHAG. And I didn't come up with it. I heard it from somebody else. But BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal.
Okay.
So you've got your goal of, short term graduating from college, wanting to work at a really amazing company and the ability to be able to bring your parents here, which are very amazing goals. But like, what would be your BHAG? And like another person, like a friend of mine she calls them vomit goals. Like when you think about it, it's like, I don't know that I can do that kind of thing. So what would be like what would you consider to be like your BHAG? Just like this big crazy goal that you're like, I don't know if I can do that or not.
Oh, let me think. Okay, okay, I have. So my BHAG, I would say, is possibly in the future once I'm like very well established. Well, not necessarily very well established, but I would say my BHAG is probably starting having my own startup company and then growing it to like $1 billion company. Yeah.
Nice. That is a very good BHAG to have. You've mentioned it a couple times. So I wanted to ask you, so what do you think, like what are the characteristics um of the company that you would like to work for? Like you said, like, one that aligns with your goals and things like that and your values. But so like what are some of those things? And the reason why I'm asking this is because, there are going to be people who are watching this and maybe they are working at one of those companies. So what would be like what are those values and things that those companies do that you really are looking for?
Sure. A big thing for me would be a company that has DEI initiatives and holds themselves accountable to uphold those DEI initiatives, especially right now where people that like there's companies retracting, oh, they're like, oh, we're not doing diversity, equity, and inclusion no more. Like we're done with that. That was just a phase. That's a big thing for me. I would like to be somewhere where I can see representation, and not just representation of me, but representation of any other person who was once a minority in tech. I would also want a company that is respectful of their employees and has a very what's the word? attractive work-life balance. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. An attractive work-life balance. I also like a company where I can grow in my career, where it's not the work culture is not toxic, or it's not, it's just it's open, it's free, the employees feel comfortable, and you feel comfortable in yourself and your work, and you're able to grow as an employee so you can move up in your career. I guess those are the few things that look attractive to me in a company.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important, like you brought up the fact of like not just having that DEI statement, but like actually showing that you are, putting your money where your mouth is. You say that you
Exactly.
want to do this, but then like your board of directors and things like that look like,
Something
the
completely,
population that is exactly like, do
yeah.
they look like your employee workforce? Do they not? Are you bringing in diversity? Exactly. So before we leave today with our interview, what is for the nerdy girls who are up and coming, rising nerdy girls, what would be a piece of advice that you would like to share with them?
A piece of advice I would like to share is keep believing in yourself and never give up. Because I promise you and any other person who might be watching this interview, it gets better. Like if things look and feel difficult right now, I promise you that's just a stepping stone for you for something greater than you have ever imagined. I was at one of not the worst point of my life, but I was at a very difficult point in my life during my sophomore year or just after my freshman year because I was contemplating changing my major. I was basically going through a life crisis. But I had to remind myself that everything doesn't end here and now. Life continues and it gets better at the end of the day. So I just have to keep pushing and keep believing in myself. And I did that, and things are looking better now. So that's my advice to people: keep pushing, keep believing in yourself, and things are definitely going to get better.
Awesome. That is great advice. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I really appreciate it and answering our questions and being a nice role model for the young women that are out there. So thank you so much.
Thank you for taking your time to interview me today. It was a pleasure answering all these questions, and I hope anybody watching this learned something important from this. Thank you.